Okay, now that we've finished our burgers or anything else that you might have cooked on the grill, we're going to again make sure that all of our debris is off the grill, all the old food particles. So give it a good scrub there and make sure that everything's off of there. And what we're going to be cooking now is chicken. And chicken cooks differently from beef, or especially burgers. There's a specific way to tell when a chicken is done, but a chicken, you need to have it cooked fully, but if you cook it too much, it's going to dry out. So it's very similar to pork in that it's not quite as volatile as pork in drying out, but it's still something that it takes a little bit of practice to get down well. So I'm just going to open up this chicken here, and we'll throw these away over here. And these are 2 5-ounce chicken breasts. I get the boneless chicken breasts, and we're going to go ahead and season these up. I'm going to cook them 2 different ways. One, we're going to use our Great American seasoning on. The other one, we're going to make our Cajun style chicken. So again, we're just going to put them on our wire rack here. And I'm going to grab the first one over here and put a little bit of our Great American seasoning on here. And chicken, you want to go fairly light on it. The chicken is going to absorb the seasoning much more than the burgers or steaks. So you want to go very light on it to give it a good flavor. Now the other thing that I like to do is with our bean seasoning, it's a Cajun and bean seasoning, and I like to put just a little bit on and then grill it that way, the same way I do with the seasoned chicken. But what we're going to make right now is a little bit different. We're going to put it on pretty heavy, and this is going to be our Cajun chicken like we do at the restaurant, and you can do that right here at home. As you can see, I'm putting that on fairly heavy. Pat it down a little bit because there's a lot of chili powder and onions and all sorts of other stuff in this particular seasoning, and there's not as much salt, so it's not going to make the chicken over salty. Okay, we're going to let it get pretty good like that. We're just going to put it right here on the middle of the grill. We'll go ahead and use this one here and put that on the grill. Now, especially after doing chicken, you're going to need to wash your hands real good, so that's what I'm going to do right now, is just come over here to my bowl and wash my hands real good. Make sure I've got everything off of there. And generally I prefer to use paper towels out here, but today I've just got a kitchen towel, and since I've used the top end of that, now I'm going to flip it over like this, so that what I would do the next time I'll be using the top end of the towel. Okay, we've got everything set up over here. Let me put the seasoning back over here. Now with chicken, you can tell it's done when it gets firm. You can push on it right now with the tongs, and as you can see, it's really moving a lot, and it's something you can see a little bit visually here. It's more of a thing that you're going to feel. You can see that there's a lot of movement in the chicken, and it feels mushy all the way through. When the chicken is done, it's going to be very firm. You don't want it to be super firm, but the very minute that it gets firm, that's when the chicken is done. If you go any farther than that, then it's going to be dry. So you really need to keep a constant eye on it. When you're first starting it here, it's probably going to go about 3 or 4 minutes on this side, and then we'll flip it over. You don't have the telltale signs like you did with the burgers where the juices are coming out. So basically you're going to time that, and we'll give it a couple of minutes, and you'll see the edges will start to turn white, and then we'll be flipping it shortly after that. One common problem that we have when we're grilling chicken that also occurs is that if the chicken is too thick, it's going to be hard to grill, because with chicken you normally have it, especially a chicken breast, you have it, it's kind of shaped like your hand here. And as you can see, it's thicker on this side here than it is over here. And some of the cuts of the chicken breast that you get are going to be really thick on this side, and they'll be real thin on this side, and this part's going to burn before this side goes. So one thing you need to make sure that you do before you start putting anything on the grill is determine the thickness of it and make sure you don't need to do anything to it. If you do, then the best thing to do is just butterfly it down the middle. And what we'll do is I'll just turn my hand around here and show you like this. If it's like this, you're going to want to take a knife and just cut it right there through where my thumb is. You're going to cut it about almost all the way through, but not quite all the way through. And this part is actually, as you cut it, you're just going to lay it open like that. So it's going to come open. We refer to that in the restaurant as butterflying the meat. And that's going to give you even width on your meat, and so it'll grill more evenly, and you'll have the perfect grilling. And here we go. We're ready back with our chicken here. We're going to flip it. As you can see, it's white around the edges, and it's starting to firm up on there. There's still quite a bit of movement there, but the edges are white and they're firming up, and you're getting a little bit of dripping off the edges here. And that dripping is kind of solidified. If it hadn't really solidified yet, then it's probably not ready to turn. So here we're just going to take it and flip it right there. And there we go. Now we'll try this one over here. And sometimes they stick a little bit, so you kind of want to roll it off. As you can see, this one, the seasoning on there is staying on more than this one, and it's kind of gotten those grill marks a lot better on there. And that's our Cajun chicken. So now it's probably only going to be a couple of minutes here, but at this point we've got about 30 seconds, maybe 45 seconds before we really need to start checking our chicken. But this is the point where you really need to be vigilant with chicken and checking it constantly. You can be sitting there and testing it, and in 5 seconds you've tested it and it wasn't ready, and then 5 seconds later it's ready. And if you wait another 10 seconds, then you're probably going to start drying it out. So it's very important at this point to not get distracted like I usually do. My wife always complains because when I grill stuff, sometimes I burn it because we're throwing a party and we've got so much stuff going on that I'm trying to grill and do other things at the same time. And when it comes to chicken, you really need to just concentrate on the chicken and not worry about that. With some steaks and the other things, you have a little bit of leeway. But chicken, you really need to be paying attention to all the time. And you can kind of tell when you're pushing on the chicken here, you want to test all the areas. Now, the thin area generally gets firm first, but not always. Depends on your grill. So you just want to be able to push it. It's really starting to firm up here, but it's still a little bit mushy down here. This one over here is still a little ways off. You can see some juices coming out the top there, and that's good. But we're still a couple of minutes, or not a couple of minutes, probably about 20, 30, 45 seconds away from pulling these off. The only way to tell is really, like I said, with the firmness, and one way you can do that is, it's similar to the steak method. I'll show you the steaks, how to cook a steak to the right temperature later. But if you want to take your little finger and your thumb, put them together like that, and then just press right here. That's how you want the chicken to feel. Just press right like that with your little finger and your thumb put together, and that's the firmness that you want on chicken. If it's less firm than that, then it's not done yet. If it's more firm than that, then you probably already overcooked it. So you want to be constantly checking and seeing how it is. It's a little bit harder to tell when you have the tongs than with your finger, but you don't want to be sticking your finger on a hot chicken, so that's you'll just have to get the feel for the tongs. And these are probably about 15 seconds away from being ready. And what I'd recommend when you're grilling, get a long enough pair of tongs so that your hands don't get hot over the grill. It's easy to burn the hair off of your fingers. Us he-men have probably done that more times than we should. But if you have long enough tongs, then your hands can stay away from the heat. Again, with chicken, you don't want the grill too hot. You don't want it too cold. If it's too cool, then it's not going to cook very quickly. And if it's too hot, then it's going to burn on the outside before it's done on the inside. So these, again, it's a constant vigilance with these. There's still a little bit here on this end right over here that's not quite ready. This one, we still have a little bit of movement there. And there's going to be movement on the outside, but it's all in the feel of how hard you push down on it and what resistance it gives you back. So we'll give those just a couple, maybe another 10 seconds here, and we'll see how they are. Now, food safety is especially critical with chicken, because the #1 source of foodborne illness in this country is with poultry, and the salmonella being the main culprit. And you can cross-contaminate very easily from chicken to other foods. So if you're cooking multiple foods, you need to make sure that you separate your grill and cook your chicken on one side, cook your burgers on the other side, so you don't mix them between, and don't let the foods touch when they're on the grill. Also, keeping your chicken cold before you put it on the grill is very important. And then serving it up and getting it served up and cleaning up. That's why it's really important to have something to clean your hands, especially when you're using chicken. And these two pieces are done now. This one is our grilled chicken. I'm just going to put that on the plate right there. Okay. All right, now for our Cajun chicken, we have something else. At the restaurant, you'll notice I put quite a bit of seasoning on there. Now what we're going to use is just a Louisiana hot sauce. And we're going to put this pretty liberally over the chicken there, like that. And then I'm going to flip it over kind of carefully there, and we're just going to put more Louisiana sauce on this side of the chicken. And if you get a little bit too much, I wouldn't worry too much about it, because it's going to be on there for just a minute more and it's going to burn off. We're going to cook this piece a little bit more well done than the other piece. We'll let that cook the Louisiana sauce into the seasoning on the other side there. And then we'll give it a flip over here. Let's see what that looks like on the other side. There we go. And we'll let that the excess juice on that burn off, because you don't want it real wet on the outside. The Louisiana sauce, if you let it sit there for just probably 30 seconds on each side, that's going to burn some of that water out of the juice, and it's going to soak into the seasoning salt, and it'll make a really good Cajun chicken. So that one probably is about ready on that now. So we'll go ahead and put that on the plate here right next to that. And one more thing to keep in mind when you're grilling is it's hot in the summertime, and sometimes we're not as hungry as we are at other times of the year. If you want something light, and during the summertime, what I'd take is either one of these kind of chicken and just make yourself a salad, and take one of these chicken breasts and cut it into probably 5 or 6 sections, make them long pieces, however you like it. Just cut that up and put that on top of your salad, and it makes a really light meal. Instead of having 2 chicken breasts or something, then you can split it with somebody, put however much chicken you want on top of your salad in bits, and it makes a really good salad and makes it nice for the summertime, especially when it's hot here.